Now let us see potentiometers. So there are two types of potentiometers, linear and angular motion potentiometer. So linear motion potentiometer and angular motion potentiometer. Basically these potentiometers are the transducers which are used to measure some of the physical quantities like displacement, pressure, force, acceleration, liquid level and so on. But basically potentiometers are used to measure displacement. So such potentiometers, it may be linear potentiometer or angular potentiometer. These potentiometers convert linear motion or angular motion of a rotating shaft in terms of change in resistance. So that change in resistance is measured, which gives the value of displacement. That displacement may be either linear displacement or angular displacement. So this is the potentiometer used to measure linear displacement, and this is the potentiometer used to measure angular displacement. So this is called as linear motion potentiometer and this is called as angular motion potentiometer. So in case of linear motion potentiometer, there is a variable resistance element to which there is a slider connected. Slider can move through this resistance. So across this resistance element there is a battery connected, and there is V0. V0 is the output voltage, and there is an arm through which the displacement is measured. So now when the slider is at lower position, this is 0 point position, so in that case the output voltage will be 0. So now whenever there is a displacement of slider, as the slider is displaced, obviously the resistance of this resistance element changes, and as the resistance changes the output voltage also changes, because V is equal to I into R. As resistance changes the output voltage also changes. So therefore here the change in the output voltage is directly proportional to the displacement here. As there is more displacement, there is more change in the resistance, and the change in the output voltage is also more. So therefore here the displacement is measured in terms of change in resistance or else change in the output voltage across this resistance element. So in this way linear displacement can be measured through this linear potentiometer. The working principle is same in case of angular motion potentiometer. That is, here when the position of slider is at this position, in that case maximum resistance is included in the circuit. So now when the slider is rotated in the anti-clockwise direction, then as the angle theta is increased, so theta is measured with respect to its 0 position. Now as the angle theta of the slider is increased, the resistance decreases and therefore the output voltage also decreases. So here the angular displacement, that is theta, is measured in terms of change in the resistance or else change in the output voltage. So here also the change in the displacement is measured in terms of change in resistance or else change in the output voltage. So therefore in this linear or angular motion potentiometers, the resistance is measured, the displacement is measured in terms of change in the resistance. Now the advantage of these potentiometers are they give high output, they are less expensive, and they are available in different sizes, shapes and ranges. They are very simple to operate, their electrical efficiency is very high, and so on. But these potentiometers have several disadvantages. They have limited life due to early wear of sliding arm, and the output tends to be noisy and erratic in high speed application. So these are some of the disadvantages. So in this case, there are two types of materials used for potentiometer. So wire-wound potentiometer and non-wire-wound potentiometer. The materials used for wire-wound potentiometers are platinum, nickel, chromium, copper, and so on. And in case of non-wire-wound potentiometers, the materials used are cermet, hot molded carbon, carbon film, and thin metal film. So this is about linear and angular motion potentiometers. Now let us discuss about the working of different instruments used for the measurement of temperature. So let us see first electrical resistance thermometer or resistance temperature detector. So now, as we have discussed in the previous case also, it is very convenient and efficient to measure the non-electrical quantities such as temperature by electrical methods. In case of electrical methods of measurement of temperature, we convert the temperature, which is the non-electrical quantity, into a suitable electrical quantity. Then that electrical quantity is measured in terms of temperature. So here the advantage of converting temperature into an electrical quantity is the converted electrical signal can be easily detected, amplified, and it can be used for control purpose. And also it is very accurate to measure the converted electrical signal. So in this way we get accurate value of temperature in the form of an electrical quantity. So let us see the working principle of this electrical resistance thermometer. So this RTD or electrical resistance thermometer works on the principle that whenever the temperature of a metal changes, its electrical resistance also changes, and the change in the electrical resistance is measured, which gives the value of change in the temperature. So we know that in most of the metals, as the temperature of the metal increases, its resistance also increases, and that increase in the resistance of the metal is directly proportional to increase in the temperature. So therefore that increase in the resistance is measured, which gives the value of the change or increase in the temperature. So in this case, by using this type of thermometer, we can measure temperature over a wide range, that is from minus 200 degrees Celsius to plus 650 degrees Celsius. Now let us see another device used for the measurement of temperature is thermistor. So thermistor can be split into two words, that is thermal resistor. So thermistor is a thermally sensitive resistor. It is a thermally sensitive variable resistor made up of a ceramic like semiconducting materials. Unlike electrical resistance thermometers, which are made up of metals, thermistors are made up of ceramic like semiconducting materials. And therefore, in case of thermistors, with the change or increase in the temperature, their thermal resistor decreases. So it is unlike to electrical resistance thermometer. In case of electrical resistance thermometer, we have seen that as the temperature of the metal increases, its resistance also increased. But in case of thermistor, as the temperature of the thermistor increases, its resistance decreases. That means in thermistors, the resistance is inversely proportional to temperature. So this is because the thermistors are made up of semiconducting materials. Thermistors are often composed of oxides of manganese, nickel and cobalt, which are doped with germanium. The electrical characteristics of thermistors are controlled by varying the type of oxide used and physical size and configuration of the thermistor. Now let us see thermocouple thermometers. For the measurement of temperature below 650 degrees Celsius, normal thermometers or field thermometers can be used. So now if the temperature is very high, that is above 650 degrees Celsius, then field thermometers are unsuitable. So for the measurement of higher range of temperatures, we use thermocouples and pyrometers. So therefore, let us see first thermocouples. So this is the diagram of a standard thermocouple. Here two dissimilar metals are used. You can see the wires of two dissimilar metals. This wire is of metal 1, this wire is of metal 2. And the two dissimilar metals are connected together at the measuring junction. So this is the hot body. So the temperature of this hot body is to be measured. At the other end, they are connected to a reference junction. And this arrangement is connected to a temperature recorder or millivoltmeter through copper leads. So now this thermocouple consists of two dissimilar metals or alloys which develop an EMF when the reference junction and measuring junctions are at different temperatures. This reference junction or cold junction is usually maintained at some constant temperature such as 0 degrees Celsius. And as the temperature of this measuring junction increases, the voltage developed across this system also increases. So this voltage developed across the system is directly proportional to the temperature of the measuring junction. So therefore here the temperature can be measured in terms of voltage.